yesterday, there in my office, there's this guy named Mike, and he has the same exact hairstyle as me, with what would be a hard part instead of a disconnected part. But other than that, it's the same hairstyle, except he maybe Norwood 2. He's definitely not Norwood 3. And anyway, we were talking about this hairstyle because for several weeks I was saying, "Hey Mike, I'm going to steal your haircut." He said, "Okay, cool, do it." So I was talking to him about it because he acknowledged it. He said, "Nick, you finally did it. You finally stole my haircut." And so we were talking about this, and of course talking about this channel because he's aware of this channel. He watches me shoot these videos while he's on his smoke breaks. And so we were talking about hair loss, and I told him, I said, you know, I'm 36. I never thought I'd have this much hair at age 36. You know, he believes in the whole thing about your mother's side of the family and the genes, and you know, if your mother's side of the family has better hair for men, then you know, he believes in that, and that's fine. But I was telling him again that I just never expected to have this much hair at 36, and he said, well, maybe you won't lose your hair. Now, he's got no authority on the subject. He just said that. But then it got me thinking, what if in reality, like, I pretty much held on to this much hair for most of my adulthood? I'm not saying it's likely, and I'm not saying I'm thinking it's going to happen. What I am thoroughly expecting is to go to Norwood 4 status within 4 years by the time I'm 40. I think by 40 I'll be crossing that line. That's my expectations. I talk regularly to all of you about having expectations on your hair loss, about how it's going to happen and what to do about it. But what if in the off chance my hair loss stopped here, where it is right now, and pretty much just remain that for the next several decades? What if? It's so funny because that's not a question I ask. I ask myself a lot of questions. That's never one I never think to myself, what if I actually just stayed here like this, you know, for the next couple of decades? I can't even process it. I'm trying to think about how weird that would be to still have hair on top of my head during my 40s, during my 50s, into my 60s. I can't even imagine that. That is so weird of a thought, because I keep my expectations low where they need to be. If you keep your expectations low, you won't be disappointed. And I'm not being jaded or anything. That's the reality of it. But just going back to the concept that I have been going through hair loss since age 18. I'm 36 now, so half my life I've been losing my hair. And I'm still here. I have a very slow rate of hair loss. But what if it actually stopped? Because I know Robert, who watches this channel regularly, he talks about how often there's a certain window of hair loss, and then some men stop losing their hair at some point. What if that actually happened, you know, in the next couple of years before I reached Norwood 4? It's strange to think that I'm ready. I'm like, okay, Norwood 4, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not anxious about you. Let's do this, Norwood 4. Okay, fine, whatever. And I guess just because I'm so like aware of it, just waiting for it to happen. And we'll know in 4 years. But I really think it will happen. But what if it didn't? What if I still had hair on the top of my head throughout my 40s and 50s? It's hard to fathom that, because everything I'm doing mentally is preparing me to not have hair. So that would be weird. It'd be like graduating high school and being 20 years old. Like, that's how it would feel to me.